I live in a small town where nothing ever changes. Same quiet streets, same neighbors, same boring routines. At least, that's how it used to feel, until the night I saw her. It was early winter, the kind of cold that stiffened your bones. I remember stepping outside to lock my gate before bed, and that's when I noticed a figure standing under the streetlight across from my house. A woman, tall, completely still, just staring at my bedroom window. I assumed she was lost, maybe someone waiting for a ride. But something about her posture, the way she didn't move, didn't shiver. Even though it was freezing, it put a weird feeling in my chest. I went inside, tried to ignore it. Midnight came. I couldn't sleep, so I peeked through my curtain. She was still there, still staring. I whispered out loud without thinking. What the hell? No reaction. She didn't even blink. Minutes passed, then maybe an hour. I stood there at the window watching her, and for the first time in my life, I felt like someone was waiting for me. Not watching, waiting. Around 3 a.m., she finally moved. She slowly lifted her head, like bones grinding inside her neck, and looked directly into my eyes through the window. Even from that distance, I knew she was smiling. A slow, unnatural smile, like she'd been patient. I stepped back. My heart pounded so hard I felt it in my throat. When I looked again, she was gone. I barely slept. Night 2. I was hoping it was a one-time thing. A weird late-night wanderer. But the next night, after I turned off my lights and got in bed, I heard something. Tapping. From my window. Not loud. Just tap, tap, tap. I froze. I didn't want to look, but curiosity won. I pulled the curtain aside and nearly screamed. She was right there, inches from the glass. Her face pale and stretched into that same terrible smile. Her eyes wide, too wide, like she hadn't blinked in days. She whispered something I barely heard. Let me in. I stumbled back, heart racing. I wanted to call police, scream, run, but I was paralyzed with fear. When I finally built the courage to look again, she was gone. Just like before. For the next 5 nights, she returned. Always at different hours. Always at the window. Always staring. I started dreading sunset. I stopped sleeping. I felt watched constantly. I finally told a neighbor. Fat mistake. He stared at me like he already knew. He sighed and said, "You're seeing her too. The town's secret." He explained that many locals had seen her over the years. A woman who appeared at windows and street corners, always staring at one house repeatedly. Some said she used to live here decades ago. Some claimed she froze to death in a snowstorm searching for her child. Others believed she wasn't human at all, just something that pretended to be. The worst part? Everyone who saw her eventually experienced the same ending. She stopped watching them at night and started knocking on the door. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat awake in the living room with lights on, clutching a kitchen knife. Around 2:14 a.m., I heard it. Knock, knock, knock. Slow, rhythmic. Not asking, expecting. I felt tears in my eyes. She was here for me. I crept to the door, shaking so hard I could barely breathe. I stood on the other side, silent, trying not to make a sound. Then she whispered, "I've been patient. You're awake. I know you're there." I never opened it. Eventually morning came, sunlight spilling through the curtains like a rescue rope. I collapsed on the floor and cried from relief. But here's the part one still can't explain. When I checked my security camera later, the recording showed no one at my door. Yet the knocking sound? It was recorded, clear as day. She hasn't returned in months, but every night before bed, I lock my doors twice and stare out that same window, wondering, how long will she wait? And what happens when she stops waiting? When I was 18, me and my cousin used to explore abandoned buildings for fun. Factories, hospitals, schools. The creepier, the better. But nothing ever scared me like the radio station outside town. People said a DJ died there during an overnight shift. Found slumped over the mic, headphones still on, the record spinning endlessly beside him. No one ever bought or reopened the place. It just sat there, dead, forgotten, perfect for us. We sneaked in through a broken back door. Inside, it smelled like dust and old wires. Everything was still there, sound booths, microphones, cracked vinyls, a wall calendar frozen in 1994. It felt like time had just stopped when he died. My cousin joked, "Maybe we should do a broadcast." Laughing, I sat in the DJ chair while he powered up the old generator. To our surprise, the equipment lit up. Red glowing buttons. Static hissing through the speakers. A low hum from dusty cables. It shouldn't have worked. But it did. We sat there listening to the static, joking around, until we heard something beneath the noise. A voice. Very faint, but unmistakable. At first we thought it was interference. A distant radio signal bleeding through. But then the voice said something that made both of us stop breathing. "You're not supposed to be here." My cousin whispered. "Dude, he's talking to us." We said nothing. The mic was off. Nobody was transmitting. Then the voice continued, louder, like it was inside the room. "I didn't lock that door. You left the generator running. You shouldn't have done that." I stood up, trembling. My cousin shined his flashlight toward the recording booth on the other side of the glass window. And we saw him. A man sitting in a chair in the dark studio room, wearing headphones, not moving, except for one slow finger tapping on the desk, matching the rhythm of his speech. Like he was still broadcasting, even in death. My cousin whispered, "We have to go." I nodded slowly. But before we could run, every speaker in the building exploded with sound. Screeching. Horrible, deafening feedback, like someone dragging metal across the inside of our skulls. We covered our ears and fell to our knees. The lights flickered violently, the man behind the glass still motionless, still staring through the dark. Through the static, we heard him again. Not whispering this time, screaming deep and angry. "Don't leave me alone. I am still on air. You hear me." The door slammed shut by itself. We ran. We didn't think. We just broke a window and jumped through it. Glass sliced my arm open, but I didn't stop. We sprinted through the cold night like something was chasing us. When we got home, I still heard static in my ears. It never really went away. And sometimes, when I'm driving late at night, if I scroll through FM frequencies, there's one channel with nothing but soft static, and a faint voice buried inside it. "Don't leave me." I always change the station. But sometimes, late, when it's quiet, I think about going back. Just once. Just to see if he's still waiting. 3 winters ago, my family rented a remote cabin for a weekend in the mountains. No neighbors. No cell signal. Just trees, snow, and silence. The first day felt peaceful. Hot cocoa, board games, fireplace crackling. But everything changed that night. Around 1 a.m., we heard footsteps in the snow outside. Slow. Heavy. Too heavy to be human. My dad assumed it was a deer or maybe a bear. We all tried to sleep. But at 2:40 a.m., the footsteps came back. This time directly under my window. They stopped, like something was standing there, listening. Then we heard breathing. Deep, slow breathing. Like something huge was drawing air through its lungs. My mom whispered from the other room, "Is someone outside?" Nobody answered. The breathing continued. Then, scratching. Long, dragging scratches along the wooden wall beneath my window. Like claws testing the surface. My dad grabbed a flashlight and went to look. We begged him not to, but he stepped onto the porch anyway. The door creaked open, and everything went silent. No footsteps. No breathing. Just the wind. He shined the light across the snow. That's when he cursed under his breath. There were footprints, but they weren't human. They were massive. Long, stretched, almost like hooves, but wrong. Too wide. Too deep. They circled the cabin. Twice. Then trailed into the woods. We locked every door and stayed together in the living room. Nobody slept. Around 3 a.m., something slammed into the side of the cabin hard enough to shake the walls. Cups fell. Lamps tipped. My little sister started crying. Dad pointed the flashlight at the window, and for a split second we all saw it. A shape. Tall. Much taller than a man. Pale skin, stretched thin over a too long frame. Eyes reflecting the light like an animal's. It leaned toward the window and smiled. It knew we were awake. It knew we were afraid. We killed the lights and hid in the hallway. The house groaned as footsteps moved across the roof, slow and deliberate. Snow fell from the rafters with each heavy step. Then we heard it speak. Not clearly. Not words. Something between a growl and a whisper. Like it was trying to imitate a human voice. We stayed like that until sunrise, holding each other, waiting to die. When morning came, the creature was gone, but the footprints remained. Fresh, deep, leading into the trees again, like it would return when the sun disappeared. We left early, drove down the mountain without looking back. But some nights, in complete silence, when I'm lying awake in bed, I swear I still hear snow crunching outside my window. Slow footsteps, coming closer, waiting for us to return.